What is up, my friends? We are back, and hey, it is school season. The little ones are back in school, so I'm pumped. We get a little extra free time during the day. They're pumped. One of them's going into middle school, one of them is going into fourth grade, and then obviously have a little baby as well. So we got the full mix here. But yeah, also with the return to school, we get the return of football here in a couple weeks. Can't wait for that. Going to be a big NFL season. Hopefully, we have a really good season. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for this week. We have the Tour Championship. After this, there's a little bit of a break in the schedule, so we don't have the Pro Court Championship until September. I think it's the second week of September, and then we don't have another golf event until the last week of September, which is going to be the Ryder Cup. Should be a lot of fun. The Ryder Cup selections, at least the top six that are automatically in by standings. That ended last week. So whatever happens this week doesn't go towards the Ryder Cup standings. So all six of those golfers are automatically qualified for the U.S. team. Keegan Bradley did not qualify, so he's going to have to pick himself if he does want to play in the Ryder Cup because he is the captain. But yeah, should be a lot of fun. Hopefully we can enjoy this little break. It's always nice to get a couple weeks off, get ready for football, and then get back into it in the fall swing season. But yeah, we're here to talk about the Tour Championship. So it's only 30 golfers. If you've played DFS before this time of year, typically it's not the best event for DFS. Probably because of the starting strokes, probably because there's only 30 golfers to choose from. There tends to be a ton of overlap in terms of the ownership, in terms of the player pool. It tends to be a ton of duplicated lineups. And so I don't know. I don't love the event. I don't hate the event. It's kind of weird that a championship of a sports league isn't all that important. I mean, this is maybe the sixth most important event of the year. I mean, sure, there's a big prize at the end. The winner this week gets $10 million, but obviously, anyone would rather have a major. Anyone would probably rather have Players Championship win. And you could argue there's a couple others above the Tour Championship as well, but there is a lot of money on the line. These guys are going to be, wanting to win, and the fact that we don't have the starting strokes this year makes it a little bit more open. Obviously, Scotty Scheffler is still the major favorite. He's at plus 170 in most markets. But I mean, with everyone starting at zero, there's at least a chance for the guys that barely snuck into the event to win this week. As far as the course goes, it's East Lake Golf Club, par 70, over 7,400 yards. This is one of the longest par adjusted courses on the PGA Tour. And because of that, golfers hit a ton of drivers. Last year, we saw 86% driver usage off the tee, which is one of the highest marks on the PGA Tour. This used to be one of those courses where guys would hit a lot of 3-woods, focus on their iron play because the rough is so thick and the fairways are so narrow. But with this day and age, with guys hitting drivers so straight, so far, it's just such a big advantage. So we're just seeing almost all of these old courses where they used to be less than driver courses, used to be, 3-wood, 5-wood, irons off the tee. We just don't see that a lot anymore. Golfers want to be aggressive, and we certainly saw that here last year. So good total drivers of the ball, good drivers of the ball in general are going to have a big advantage at this course. The greens here are average in size. They feature Bermuda grass. They're going to be pretty fast, usually at least 12 on the stimp meter. They're not easy to hit in regulation. I think the GIR rate last year was 66%, so a little bit below tour average. So you're going to get a decent amount of scrambling opportunities. So around the green play is probably going to matter a little bit more than it would most events. As far as putting goes, stroke gain putting here is pretty easy on an annual basis. So what that means is there's not a huge edge for guys that are really good at putting. Doesn't mean that you still want good putters, but it's kind of easy for everyone to gain strokes putting at this event. So for me, I'm not weighting it too heavily. I have it at 6% this week. Pretty or better, I have it at 3%. If you want to chase some upside, chase some scoring for fantasy purposes, I certainly don't mind bumping this up since there isn't a cut this week. Bogey avoidance also at 3%. Course history, I bumped it up to 6%. So this is the highest that I've had it in quite a while. Course history at this event has been very predictive year over year, has one of the highest weights on Data Golf's, course history metrics each and every year. So I do think that's going to be important. Guys that play well here tend to play well here, in the future. And then, first timers, I don't necessarily love first timers at this event, but doesn't mean I won't take anyone just because they haven't played this course before. In terms of the comps that I'm looking at, these are all comps that I found on the rabbit hole of BetSperts. If you want to try that out, it is my favorite stat engine by far. There's so many different things you can look at. You can look at, less than driver courses, driver heavy courses, anything by grass type, anything by region type. course history. You can any time frame that you want to look at. It's pretty great. We do have a deal with them if you do want to check that out. So let me know if you do. In terms of strokes gained on long par 70s over the last 2 years, we have Victor Hovland number one. Finally, Scotty Scheffler isn't number one in one of the comps. I think last week and the week before that, he was number one in all of them. Scheffler 2, Burns 3, Rory 4, and McNeely 5. So I'm betting on Hovland this week. He's plus 3,000 at FanDuel. I'm also betting on Sam Burns, who's also plus 3,000 on FanDuel. That's the best prices that you're going to find. Most of the books have them at 25, 22, 28. So I think if you, if you like them with me, then I would get on them now before, that number changes a little bit. So Hovland gained 7.5 strokes ball striking last week. His form's kind of been up and down all year, but T7 was really encouraging last week. He's obviously won the Tour Championship in 2023, so I like that quite a bit. Then you have Sam Burns, who has always been known for his putting, right? He's on a great putter. He's the best putter in the field, at least over the last 6 months. But then if you look at his ball striking, it's gotten so much better. He's actually number one in total driving over the last 3 months. That is not normally the case for Sam Burns. So I like that. He's also gained on approach in 8 of his last 9 events, which is really impressive as well. And 4th place finish here in 2023. So I like those two as outrights. I also like them as DFS plays. They're both, affordable. 9,400 for Hovland, 8,500 for Sam Burns. Scheffler, obviously, just very good everywhere. Driver heavy courses that feature thick rough. So another filter on the rabbit hole. Ludwig Aberg, number 1. Scheffler 2, Burns 3, Rory 4, McNeely 5. So very top, you have Ludwig. He's been playing a lot better, back-to-back top 10 finishes. Had an outright on him last week. And, if you would have told me that McIntyre shot what he did last Sunday, I would have thought Aberg had a chance, but he also struggled on Sunday. Then strokes gained in no-cut events over the last 2 years. Scheffler 1, Tommy 2, Rory 3, and JT 4. My outright card is going to be filled out by Tommy Fleetwood, 14-1. I get it. He obviously hasn't been great with the lead on the back 9 on Sundays. He lost to Travelers. He also lost to St. Jude. But yeah, I'm a firm believer that if you give yourself enough chances, you're eventually going to break through. You're going to get the breaks that you need on a Sunday. He's second in this field in strokes gained tee to green. Good driver of the ball, good approach player, good around the green, good putter. So he kind of checks all the boxes. He's got a pretty good track record at Eastlake as well. So yeah, just give him another chance. I think he can get it done. So I do like Tommy Fleetwood at plus 1,400. Now, if you want to, or if you're worried about Scheffler, you can certainly bet the winner without Scheffler market. I think Tommy's plus 900, and then you can get the other guys, Burns and Hovland. I think they're plus 20, plus 2,000, something like that. Then we have the form and field strength. As always, you can play around with these different weights if you want. If you're a premium member at RG, you can download the model. You can play around with the ways. You can come up with your own ratings. You can even give golfers manual adjustments. So let's say you think Harry Hall's awesome because he's been awesome for 6 months straight, pretty much. Give him a 15% boost. All of a sudden, he's gonna pop +6 in the plus minus column here, and then he's gonna show up in a lot more of your builds when you upload these to Lineup HQ on RotoGrinders. Let's get to the overall rankings. We'll talk about a few guys, then we'll get out of here. Again, we won't have another video for a couple weeks, so I appreciate you guys watching these each and every week. Appreciate you guys hitting the thumbs up button. And at the very top, we have Scotty Scheffler. He's a big decision point this week. 13.9 on DraftKings, 14,000 on FanDuel. Hefty 74% ownership projection over there on FanDuel. Not sure what to do with that. 13.9 over on DraftKings, 44% ownership projection. It's at least easier to get him on FanDuel than it is on DraftKings. That's kind of why you're seeing that ownership so high. Here's my thought process. If you're playing Scheffler, you're going to want to leave salary on the table, especially in large field tournaments. If you max out your salary or only leave $100 on the table with Scheffler, you're going to be duped. That's just how it's going to work. There's only 30 golfers in the field. So if you are playing Scheffler, I would recommend leaving $400 or $500 on the table if you can. I know it's going to be hard because once you start with Scheffler, you're not working with a lot of salary cap left, but that would be the way I would go about it, especially if you're playing large field tournaments. If you're playing small field tournaments, Scheffler is going to be extremely high owned. I focus mostly on small field tournaments, and I am going to get different this week by starting with Rory McIlroy. I think we could see these numbers, 50 to 20 in small field stuff. So I think that's the way I'm going to get different. Rory hasn't been in as good a form as Scheffler, but I mean, he's still been pretty solid. A lot of top 10 finishes recently. He's got a little bit of a better track record at East Lake than Scheffler does. And you get a unique lineup construction and you get, some nice salary savings. So I like the way my lineups look a little bit more with Rory. Granted, I don't feel great about it. If I'm picking like my favorite golfer of the week, it's going to be Scheffler, but just the way I want to build my lineup, my way to get different this week is going to be to play Rory over Scotty, probably famous last words. As mentioned, I do like Tommy Fleetwood a lot at 9,900, playing great, good tee to green, good course history, all that stuff. Henley's a guy that's interesting, Georgia Bulldog, so from the area. He's been good here. He's one of those guys that hits a ton of fairways, so he's going to be able to avoid that thick rough. And I think he could be interesting. 9,600 does feel like a lot for him. Ludwig playing well, like I mentioned. Tends to play well on championship level golf courses. This kind of seems like one of those. Then you have Sam Burns, who I like a lot. Bet him outright. I think I'm going to be using him in my main DFS lineup as well. Morikawa was interesting. So he had the lowest 72-hole score here last year. This course history includes the scores without the starting stroke. So it's how good they played that week, regardless of starting strokes. That's why Scheffler doesn't have any wins here because he won, but he didn't have the lowest score. So that's more important to me in my course history metrics. But yeah, so T33 and T22 the last 2 weeks, and then back-to-back missed cuts. He obviously fired his caddy. The ball striking numbers have been good recently. It's just been the putter and around the green. So if you want a guy that's probably going to get overlooked, 8,300 is a good price point, projects pretty well. I get it. I don't know what I'm going to do with him yet. Hovland's a guy I'm going to use a lot of. Love Bobby Mack. Don't really know how he's going to bounce back after that loss on Sunday. Had a 3 or 4 stroke lead heading into Sunday that evaporated in like 7 holes to Scotty Scheffler. But coming off his second place finish, he's been playing well. He's a good course fit. The model loves him. So I'm going to play some of him. Ben Griffin's never seen the course before, but certainly no issue with him in any format. He's been playing great. I like McNeely quite a bit. He's the one first-timer that I'm probably going to have in my main lineup. Then we have Spawn. Cantlay used to love this place. He just hasn't treated me that well. I mean, when I play him, he finishes T30. When I don't, he finishes T10. So probably not going to play much Cantlay. The short game just has been an issue all year. Keegan doesn't have the best course history, but he's a great course fit. I mean, he's a good total driver of the ball, pretty good iron player, really good scrambler. So I'm going to play some Keegan. In the sixes, my favorite plays are Harris English at 6,900, a guy that similar to Sam Burns, really good short game. And then all of a sudden we're seeing the ball striking improve. So when that happens, you definitely want to, play him before everyone else. He's been playing some great golf. 6,900 is a really good price point for him. He's also a Georgia Bulldog. And then I like Shane Lowry at 6,400. Not having a great year overall, especially not recently, but he was 8th here last year. Should be a good course fit on paper. One of the worst putters in the field, but I'm hoping he can just be level with the field with his putter this week. So that's going to do it. Appreciate you guys watching these videos. We'll catch you back here in a couple weeks.